Hello, friends from Five Reasons. Welcome back to one of our Miami Heat reports here on the YouTube channel. As you guys may know, yesterday, Meyers Leonard used anti Semitic slurs during a video game streaming. So now the NBA is investigating this video of Meyers Leonard, who's injured, as you guys know. He's not going to be playing for the rest of the season because of his shoulder problems. And he was seen by a lot of people while he was playing a video game on Monday, and he was broadcasting it. He was playing Call of Duty, a well-known game for you guys, and he was recorded using this slur while he was engaging with another player or another gamer on Twitch, where Meyers Leonard often tends to play these video games. So the Miami Heat came out. They stated, or they said something we're going to show you here in a little bit. He's going to remain away from the team indefinitely. And then Meyers Leonard apologized on an Instagram story and post, and then we're going to show you all of that. He lost also gaming sports sponsors already because of this conduct, because of this little slip, I guess. And as I said, he's going to be away from the team for a little bit. So let's go ahead and listen to or read what Meyers Leonard said right after all this came out to the public, right? So Meyers Leonard said, "I'm deeply sorry for using this anti-Semitic slur during a live stream yesterday." That would be on Monday. While I didn't know what the word meant at the time, my ignorance about its history and how offensive it is to the Jewish community, it's absolutely not an excuse, and I was just wrong. I'm now more aware of its meaning, and I'm committed to properly seeking out people who can help educate me about this type of hate and how we can fight it. I acknowledge and own my mistake, and there's no running from something like this that is so hurtful for someone else. This is not a proper representation of who I am, and I want to apologize to the Horizons, my teammates, coaches, front office, and everyone associated with the Miami Heat organization, to my family, to our loyal fans, and to others in the Jewish community who I have hurt. I promise to do better and know that my future actions will be more powerful than my use of this word. So that's the statement that came out by Meyers Leonard a little bit after all this news came out of him saying this term in the video gaming community on Twitch. So let's read some of the comments here and some of the reactions to this news. We have also the Miami Heat statement that came out. The Miami Heat vehemently condemns the use of any form of hate speech. The words used by Meyers Leonard were wrong, and we will not tolerate hateful language from anyone associated with our franchise. To hear it from a Miami Heat player is especially disappointing and hurtful to all of those who work here, as well as the larger South Florida, Miami Heat, and NBA communities. Meyers Leonard will be away from the team indefinitely. The Miami Heat will cooperate with the NBA while it conducts its investigation. That's a statement that came out on the Miami Heat official Twitter account yesterday as well. Let's see some reactions now from some of the guys here in the network. We have Ricky J. Mark reacting to the comment by Meyers Leonard that we read before. Ricky said he didn't know what the word meant, really. As smart as he presents himself to be, he didn't realize what that word, which won't be repeated in this tweet, means. Okay, then. I haven't heard the word used since American History 10, I guess. And he and I are similar in age, talking about himself and Meyers Leonard. We also have our reactions by our friend Greg Sylvander. That statement was the most telegraphed past ever, talking about the Meyers Leonard statement, not the Miami Heat statement, just to be clear. It rings so hollow, essentially saying you didn't know the meaning of the word. Embarrassing, disappointing, just no excuse. A couple of reactions from our Five Reasons crew. I'm going to read some of your guys' comments that are coming up here in a second. I want to give my opinion as well. And of course, saying my opinion does not reflect Five Reasons Sports Network opinion as a company. I'm talking in my regard, Alejandro Villegas. So I think it's, I mean, what we've seen is it's been a couple of years. Well, it's been decades, but it's been a couple of rougher years in terms of racism and hate speech in this country. And you know what? Leonard was a great example of a guy that we could actually follow and maybe be an example for other people to actually be a good guy, because I think he's a good guy besides what he just did. I mean, we've had the opportunity to share with him on the court and on the locker room. So we've heard from him thousands of times talking about different things in life, and we know what type of person, or we think we know what type of person he is. So of course, not knowing what the term means, it's not an excuse. Like he said, is not. I mean, it's unforgivable. It's just, it's unfortunate that he's not aware of the terms he's using. Like Ricky said, if you're that smart of a guy, why not know, or try to get to know what type of terms you're using when you're referring to people, especially when you're referring to people, and especially if you're somebody who has a great audience, a big audience, not only here in Miami, but nationwide and maybe internationally. Be careful with those type of things, right? That should be the main thing and the main focus. And besides the economic part, losing the sponsors and all that, it's more about who Meyers Leonard represents as a entity. I mean, he represents the Miami Heat, who represents the NBA, and this huge fight then the team and the league is trying to go forward with. It's just, this is not helpful for that regard. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm Latino. We've seen what happened with the Black Lives Matter movement, and we all have different types of discrimination that we fight against and that we feel like we could be victims of. And this one was just another one. I personally didn't even know the word. Like I said, I didn't grow up here. I came up and went to college here and never heard the term before. But I mean, if I'm gonna use a term to refer to somebody or to tell somebody's certain thing, I probably will look it up and before I use it. So it's just, I think that the Miami Heat's doing the right thing. The NBA is doing the right thing. Meyers Leonard tried to apologize. I don't know if not knowing the word was the proper apology. Maybe some people are not happy with the way that part of the apology went. He could have just said, you know what, I'm sorry, I should have not used that term, and that would have been it. So it is what it is. I think Meyers Leonard will have a lot of work to come back from this. Is not easy, especially in this type of atmosphere that we're living in this couple of years, in the last couple of years. So it's going to be a rough comeback for Meyers Leonard. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what the Miami Heat decides at the end of the day. And like our friend Alex Toledo would say, and we'll be, of course, covering everything here on the Fire Reasons YouTube channel. So let's read some of you guys' comments that are coming in here before we close it out. We just wanted to give it a little bit of a space to this report to actually get some reactions before we went out and publish anything about it and actually know what happened. So now that we have the facts, we can talk about it and we can analyze it and give our opinion. So let's go and read some quick comments before we go. I feel bad for the guy. Give him a break. People say the N word all the time. That's a huge discussion. I mean, like I said, I didn't grow up here, and I've seen the term being used by certain people, and other people use it as well. And sometimes it's offensive, sometimes it's not. That's a bigger discussion there. I feel the Lakers will pick him up over Cousins. Well, that's going over the basketball. Now he went through his slur Thursdays and picked a harsh one for fun. Not gonna work. The Heat have to release these men. I mean, that could be on the table. That could be on the table. If the organization feels like he doesn't represent their values, they could go and make that decision. So it could get to that point. At first, I didn't like Leonard, but he's a great person, and um, he's a market in the offseason, and he gave us a nice price to sit on the bench instead of going to the highest bidder. Well, it could be a he had a market. Okay, he had a market. It could be the other way. But Miami Heat paid him a lot of money just to sit on the bench. So, talking about the sports part of it, I don't think it was a good deal for the Miami Heat. Could he have played for a worse team for that slur to be used? I don't know. South Florida's Jewish population is huge, and regardless of how big the population is, especially in this state, like I said, he's a guy that is well known in the NBA. So I mean, he's a current player in the NBA. So that should be enough to for you to be very careful with the words you use, especially if you're live streaming. It would have been different if you're maybe in a private setting and this came out is not proper anyway, but it's still maybe he said it in in a private environment and it's just didn't quite came out the way he wanted it. But doing so on a live streaming where everybody can see is just for Leonard. I mean, it's a sad day. I think, I guess, for the community as well, for the Miami Heat, for the NBA as a league, and I think, I mean, he's of course going to learn from it, but it's going to be hard to come from this type of situation. So, Seth Warner, what did he say? We're not gonna say it exactly what he said in that live streaming, but it was a slur, an anti-Semitic slur, and we're not gonna, of course, come back to it. That's not how to do it. So I can find it. Yes, well, you'll find it. It's all over the place. I can recommend you an article from Jeff Zilgit from USA Today. That was from yesterday around 4:50, updated at night around 10 p.m. So there you'll have all the details. USA Today. It's called Miami Heat's Meyers Leonard uses anti-Semitic slur during video game stream. You can go there and check it out for yourself, and that way you can have your own opinion about it, of course. Um, is Riley Jewish or the owner? That could have been it. I mean, it matters, but at the same time, it shouldn't matter. I mean, he said it anyway. If he uses going, put it in a different perspective. If he uses a, I don't know, a racist towards the African American community comment and the owner's African American, it's worse, maybe, but it's bad enough already. It doesn't need to be against the owners of the team for them to actually take a stand. And the Miami Heat has been clear in what and where they stand in regards to this situation. So it is what it is. Seth Werder, I understand, bro. Thanks. Thank you, Seth, for coming. Unfortunate, yes, Brian. His career shouldn't be ended off one word though. He should be educated about it. And yes, and that's a bigger fight that we're fighting here in the United States. Like I said, I didn't grow up here. I came here in 2011, and I've been learning about this culture a little bit more from the inside now. And there's still a lot of education to be done in different aspects of this matter. There's a lot of things going on here between and among us, coming from all different backgrounds that are just living here in the United States. And that's something that we have to continue to learn and continue to grow. And these type of situations are awful, of course, but I guess we grow from it and we learn from it. So let's read some comments and then we will be out of here. James Jones says he has the video of this lore. We're not going to show you, of course. Ellie says he apologized and I forgive him. I mean, I feel like it's sincere, some part of it. I wouldn't say that I don't know the words, so I'm sorry. That would not be my recommendation for him, but that's what he did. So if we are to release him, the Heat should get his entire salary as an exception. I don't think a team would take him in even as a salary filler. Yes, well, that was some reports came early that that could be the case with Meyers Leonard. That maybe that was the idea for the Miami Heat, just giving him that salary so he could be a salary filler in this type of trades that the Miami Heat was supposedly involved. So that could be an option there. Brent, that's why the NBA is looking into it. Yes, we'll see what happens. James Jones. So anytime a black player uses the N word, should they be suspended and or fined? Well, that's another discussion. And James, you're right. That's a slur, and that's what I said earlier in this video. When I came here to the United States, I realized when some people say something, it's an insult. When some others say it, is not. I learned that very quickly. And again, I'm like you guys can see, I'm dark skinned, but I'm Latino. I'm not African American. So there's a separation there, and it's a deeper issue than that. But I agree with you, James. It should be uh, it should be just thrown away from everybody. Nobody should use these type of terms, and that way, that's the only way we can, I guess, get rid of all of them, and that way we can go forward with this fight that we're all involved in. So thank you guys for being here with us this morning. Of course, this video is gonna stay here. You guys can read the Miami Heat statement, the Meyers Leonard statement. If you got here a little bit later than when I said or when I showed what they said about this, it's in the beginning of the video, and you guys can check it out there. And of course, we're going to be back with more episodes of Five on the Floor here in about an hour. You should have it uploaded, the latest episode of Five on the Floor with Ethan Skolnick. All right. So thank you very much for joining us today. And we will see you soon around here to talk more about basketball and the Miami Heat, who's starting the second half of the season tomorrow, facing the Orlando Magic. I'm going to be there in the American Airlines Arena, of course, showing you what's going on when the Miami Heat comes back to action. Brent Salazar, have a nice day. Have a nice day, guys, as well, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Bye-bye.